Whenever you are.
Let's get started.
Let's
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Had I known this was going to be such sparsely attended tonight, I would have changed the meeting date. So hopefully we'll get through it quick. A motion to appoint Annie Rollins to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Apparently, Joe and Frank interviewed her and recommended that we appoint her, so.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second.
can you hear us okay?
Yep.
You second that?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. Joe, you want to give us your report?
Sure. We have the bids here. I don't know if you got a copy.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah,
Do you have copies?
yeah, they were sent to us, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So, we only had one for fuel. And one for several of my stones, gravel, calcium, etc.
Yeah.
I'd like a motion if you have reviewed them sufficiently enough to accept these bids.
I just have a question, Joe.
Sure.
On the highway material bids and also for oil and unleaded gas and crushed stone, it says Town of Washington Highway Department and Village of Millbrook
Correct.
Highway Department.
Correct.
Do they have to bid on or vote on these two?
You've always done it for them.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure how that
And the
worked.
only thing that they use is the fuel.
Okay. But they don't
That,
review these.
when I got here, I asked the same question.
Okay,
And I believe Kathy may have sent one over there,
okay.
but,
So we didn't get any comment on it.
no comment, and really, I don't think we've ever had an issue.
Okay,
No.
But I was told and the village is free to go out to bid if they want.
Great.
now that we're in budget planning, does this affect your projected budget for
No.
25? Oh, you're okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, actually, the gas is the heating oil is the same price last.
Good.
Wow.
Wow,
Is that right? Correct.
really?
Oh, it's election year, so all the prices went down in October.
All right,
This is interesting, how that works.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to, do we have to do each separately, Joe?
I'm not sure, but,
Attorney may help.
Yeah, I would.
To vote each one.
Yeah,
So I'll make the motion on the highway material bid form for crushed stone,
Okay.
and it is Peckham Materials Corporation.
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
Motion.
I'll second.
Second for Leslie. All in
Yep.
favor?
And then the next one is highway material bid form, fuel oils and unleaded gasoline. It's Jeff Daly and Sons Oil Services, Inc., Pleasant Valley.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
the second part of the story is that we used several of the materials that we bid out. We send out a request for bid. They were not bid. I'm not sure why 3 other companies who normally bid didn't bid this year. I don't know. I talked to the Association of Towns. You can accept these bids. I will now have to either, as per our policies and procedures, either get quotes for the items that we do use, or possibly I talked to the county superintendent, go on the county bid. So I will do that. And
Okay.
give you some prices.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joe.
We're upgrading our software for are small trucks or large trucks. It's time, it's been a long time. You will see one voucher in there tonight, I believe. There's probably another one coming in a couple of weeks, but just to let you know what it's for. We had an incident with a tractor, which I'm not sure that this software, I don't believe it does. Our mechanic couldn't figure it out. They wanted to bring it up to Death Valley where it goes and it never comes back to John Deere. I asked them instead to come down here and look it up and find out what was wrong. And for 2 little sensors, we were charged. And the sensors, there was $600, I believe, but the labor was $1,600. Yeah, so to avoid things like that in the future, when Charlie can understand what's going on inside this engine or whatever, these electrical systems, it saves us a ton of money. So
Oh, yeah,
it's not a big item, but you'll see it, and that's what it's for.
Okay,
All right.
and that corrected the problem.
Well, I'm trying to correct. Well, the John Deere corrected the problem. Yeah, they just added the other problem with the expense.
Yeah.
But yeah. South Road, as you know, it's been become a detour. Not intended, but nonetheless it is because of the bridge culvert construction on 82 North. There's a lot of big trucks going on that road. There's a lot of traffic. Thankfully, they have started patrolling it and stopping some vehicles that are speeding. But my concern is the culverts on that road. They're old. None of them have been weight limited. One was weight limited in 1992, I believe. I dug out the file at 14 ton. Well, there's a lot bigger things than 14 ton going over there until the end of December, mid or end of December. I spoke to the engineers. They said they could give us a proposal to look into this issue. It's probably not cheap, but what they do is they identify the weight limit of these bridges and culverts, and then it is posted on the road as you enter from both sides and on the road. That way you're on what's called the good side of any incident that occurs. In other words, right now, there's no legislation on that road.
Right.
Okay, indicating that this truck of 50 tons shouldn't be on that bridge. And since there is none, they're going on the bridge. Now, that doesn't entail enforcement. A lot of these things are posted, but not enforced. But we'll have to get to that after we get to this part. So I'm going to ask for some proposals. If the proposals are over our spending limit, we'll have to go to bid, whatever we have to do. But we probably should, over the next few years, take a couple roads and start posting these things up. We've got some old roads. There's some things on Butts Hollow. I don't know how they function. I mean, they're old, they're massive, and they're probably not. It's not good to put on these large trucks on. Yeah. So, for the people who are concerned about it, I wanted to let you know we are working on it, and we are working with the DOT also.
Yeah. There was an 18-wheeler car transport truck that I followed down South Road.
Is that
the other
right?
day.
Okay.
Yeah, how much is that weigh?
Can't even imagine.
Plus the narrowness of the road itself.
Yep. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
And usually, I walk in the morning, sometimes in the evening. And it's usually 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, or 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Typically, when we walk, there's a group of us that walk, maybe 3 cars, 4 cars will go by you. 45 cars.
Wow.
Yeah.
In those,
Wow.
in the morning or in the drive time afternoon.
Yeah.
Are you using, because word has spread.
Yeah.
It's a nice shortcut from 82 to 44.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not a good situation at all.
And they don't, speed limit is 40. They're not going 40.
No.
And the other night, there were 2 state police cars that had people pulled over, and I've seen 3 sheriff's cars at least cruising the road.
Yeah, she has done a good job getting the police on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did say she contacted.
She did.
Both the
We've been in
sheriff.
contact for
Right,
weeks now, so.
yeah, good.
One guy with a 1969 Charger convertible on Sunday,
Oh, boy.
trooper had him pulled over.
Really?
Yeah.
Just to look at the car.
Yeah, probably.
Well, last thing is your dump truck that is on the way. Your large dump truck that we bought off of the OTS bid. Your small one is here and being fitted for a plow and such on a Sourcewell bid, which is a government bid. So,
The big one?
Yep.
Refresh my memory, Joe. I don't remember what it was.
it was a tandem, 10-wheeler, dump truck. It was a, what is the manufacturer's name? But, it's, we got it out of, off the OGS bid. It was some outfit in Alabama. But.
It's gonna be a plow truck?
No, it's a dump truck.
Oh, just a dump truck.
Dump truck, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so the expense wasn't as what we'll pay next year or the year after for a plow truck. But we're minimized on our plow trucks. You notice we haven't bought a large plow truck in a while.
Right.
That's because we opted to go with the smaller versions, which are working out very well in the winter and the summer.
Yeah, that's great.
Mhm.
Very good.
That's all I have, unless you have any
Yeah, that's a good
questions.
report. No. I guess I do have one. Where do we stand on the culvert, Oak Summit and Canby?
Okay, so Oak Summit culvert is in design. And that's where it'll be most of this year and possibly some of next year. I believe we've been billed by a few people, I can't remember already. But as per how fast we got to it, I don't know that we'll be out to bid in 2025. That was the projected time that this was going to occur. And maybe at the end of 2025, we may be, but.
So, and again, I don't remember how it all, what transpired,
Yeah.
but when push comes to shove, is there gonna be an alternate road while this is being done, or are they gonna be able to use?
So they're going to propose to, one of two proposals will be, the first one will be to keep that structure open, move the other one over and build it on the side of it. Okay, that'll be probably the expensive one.
Yeah.
The less expensive one will probably be to remove the old structure, close the road, and get it done within a period of however long. I was very impressed with the one that was done down here at near Deneen at the sewer plant.
Yeah,
They had that thing done,
Mm.
I believe, a month before they were supposed, where their time was up, and maybe longer.
Mm.
well,
But, they closed everything up, closed, detoured, but you got it.
yeah.
So if you don't, it's gonna take longer and it's gonna cost more.
Wow.
And we're on the hook for everything after the 1.5.
Yep, and it keeps adding up. So as far as they're gonna have to take some of the property from,
Well, yeah, they do all that.
they're gonna handle all that, right?
Yeah, they handle all
All right, any questions for Joe?
No.
Thanks, Joe.
that. All right.
Before you go,
Mhm.
I'd like to thank the highway department for all the work that you did on getting the composting toilet.
Oh, okay.
Dug and spread and
Yep.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie, any questions for Joe?
Nope, no questions at all.
Okay. Danielle, since you're the only employee here aside from what, why don't you go ahead and give your report?
Okay, so, the CDBG grant, been going back and forth with that construction for
Yeah,
a long time. I finally received all the paperwork that the county requires, including the building permit. Sent it all to the county accepted it. The only thing that we haven't received yet was the performance bond from BAD. They wanted to start today, mobilization, which means they're gonna bring their trucks and stuff in and leave it there. The county recommended that we not do that, we don't let them do that until we at least have an electronic
Yep.
Copy of the performance bond.
Absolutely.
So, I contacted BAD and I talked to John DeLisa, who is in charge of our job. He said that it will happen today. I talked to the office manager. She said it will be done by the end of the day and we still don't have it. So I texted Jonathan, who's in charge, and I said, we don't have it yet. And I already told him that we are not accepting the mobilization until we do get at least the electronic
sure.
Okay.
performance bond.
You can't run that risk.
Is it reasonable to expect that they'll be able to complete that job?
He says it's a very small job.
Really?
Now, he also says that he wants to use local people and he hasn't gotten in contact with our local people, so they're probably most likely going to use their own people for it.
Okay.
I gave him, the number for, Fort Thunder back for the HVAC and Mike Schultz for the electrical. And I'm sure they're both busy at this point, and to
Yeah.
get it done by the 31st is
Yeah,
a hard task for them. So he says the performance bond should be delivered by Tuesday. I don't know if he considered the fact that there is Columbus Day before that, so it might be Wednesday. We should get it in hand. I'll keep everybody
okay,
informed
yeah,
on
yeah.
whether or not this happens. He's still projecting that it's gonna be done by the 31st. So we'll see. Programs, soccer is in full force. The soccer photos were last weekend. This weekend, Ruby Chevrolet is presenting us with, money
Mhm.
for, a scholarship, but
Uniforms or something, isn't that what we pay for?
With some med kits a couple of years ago.
yeah,
I don't know.
last year we used it for, the goals. So,
And that's- You used it for your nets, right, last year?
Yeah.
Right.
they were all wrecked, so that money came in really handy for that.
What's your enrollment this year in soccer?
Very, not as good as last year.
70?
77, I think.
But you lost a lot of that older group graduated kind of, yeah.
We'd like to thank Ruby's for their continued support.
Mhm.
Appreciate that. Composting toilet was delivered, installed, and with many thanks to the highway department, and it has been used, and people are saying wonderful things about it. They're really pleased with it. The space, it's clean,
And where is it?
it's right by the soccer shed.
It looks really nice.
So the
Yeah,
road?
it looks nice.
I'll let
And
you
Matt's
use it
gonna
on
do some
Saturday.
work on it.
What's that?
I'll let you use it on Saturday.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
You could just
In
run
fact,
out from work.
Yeah, I'll just take a ride up there.
It's funny, I finally opened it up on Saturday, and had it all set, and Warren McMillan's grandson was there to ref. And I said, you gotta use the bathroom first. It's your grandfather's, it's named after your grandfather. So,
Right,
I said, can I take a picture? Not of you in it, but coming up imminently. So he did. So it was fun. Our last senior trip was October 3rd. Everybody had a fantastic time. We took the bus to Holly, Pennsylvania, where we had lunch and we were entertained by Eric Kearns. We then boarded our bus back again and went to Honesdale, which has a steam train that took us leaf viewing.
that's very nice.
Everybody really loved it.
That's
They
great.
can't wait for next year's trips. So I'd also like to thank the Tribute Gardens for their continued support and contributions to our trips.
Very good.
The toddler program is going to have a little trip to Sukup Farms.
To where?
To Sukup Farms.
Oh, cool.
The parents will be driving. we will not be transporting anyone. It gives the parents and the families an opportunity to get to know each other in the beginning, so that if they can have, get-togethers with them, it's helpful
Yeah.
for kids on socialization.
Is that like a petting thing too? They have
I don't
animals?
think so. I've never been there.
It's just fresh apples.
So it's
and
gonna be,
apples,
they're gonna get pumpkins, donuts,
Cool.
cider,
That's
and
good.
they go on a hayride.
Good.
Yeah, cool.
So it's exciting. October 26th is our Halloween parade and trick or treating. Gingerbread night, people are starting to buy their gingerbread houses already.
Mhm.
That is gonna be on December 13th, and instead of getting everything picked up at the fire department, we wanna be able to utilize the building. So that building will have gingerbread night where they can come and decorate it at the building, at the
Cool.
park, and pick up. Then, the next day will be the Festival of Lights, so everybody that comes for gingerbread houses can preview the trees and vote for those.
Awesome.
And then the next day is, Festival of Trees is the 14th, and it's from 4 to 7. Basketball, we've already have quite a few people that are signed up for that, so that's looking good so far. Flyers, were sent to the, Millbrook schools to be approved so that they can go into their electronic backpacks. And then we're gonna send over some paper, flyers also to the schools. About lifeguards, it was really difficult last year, so I'm in contact. The question was whether or not we can, have our lifeguards take courses at Maplebrook, and that is not a thing that can happen. Because our pool is a waterfront, it's different from a lifeguard that works at a pool. So that has to be done, the certification has to be done at a location of a waterfront also. So I reached out to a couple of people to try and get them to come a couple of weeks before Memorial Day. I'm hoping it's gonna be really cold, but they can get the training at our park is what I'm hoping for. So I reached out to 2 instructors so far to try and make that happen.
Do you think it would be worth it to advertise earlier for lifeguards?
We started in April last year.
But I mean, even
and-
earlier than that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Hmm.
I was hoping so that we could maybe get kids that were home on holiday break to do it, if we could do it at Maplebrook, but that's not happening. But, we do
I
have-
wonder if Danielle, if you even just email the kids that have participated the last couple summers to see if they're interested, like guaranteeing them that they'll have the job, that if they complete the certification. Do you know what I mean? Like emailing them now and saying, would you like to work next summer? Because I do think, in fact, I know at least in the case of my daughter and her friends, they start looking and securing their summer jobs like in January and February. Because they apply for internship, they do stuff.
Mhm. I have touched base with all the people that worked last year, and they told me whether or not they wanted to come, but I can start as early as now.
I mean, it can't really hurt, to see what the climate looks like,
And I'll touch base with the people that said that they do want to get certification
Sure.
that aren't certified yet, and make sure that they're still.
Sure, let's do it.
Or maybe even going over to Millbrook High School and seeing if, with that, because at their office there is where all the kids need to get their registration for work. You have to, through the state, you have to sign up and get a form. So you could even let that office know that the rec is hiring in the summer, and maybe they'd give kids that are working all year long at restaurants or whatever they're doing, let them know that there's that opportunity there for summer employment.
Sure.
I've got an idea I'll talk to you about a poster. I've got an idea for a poster.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks.
It was good. And you saw Lisa's report.
Yep.
We don't have Matt's report, right?
Anything that you would know of Matt's report?
He wanted to report about the composting toilet that was put in, and that he's been at the highway department working on the garage doors.
Yep.
I think there was one more thing. I mean, he never had a dull moment. He's always.
With the new toilet, there, I went up with him yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. He's doing a ramp that will allow for handicap accessibility.
Really? Cool.
And then just figuring out another ramp that will bring it down to that from the walkway. And then a little privacy screen that will kind of block the door, so everybody's not pointing at who's going in the bathroom. But he's starting to design all of that and try and pick materials.
Great.
He's working with Jonathan on
He's
it.
so handy. Yeah,
It's great, yeah.
yeah, that's good.
Plus, he loves the truck.
Yeah, good. That is a good one.
Brand new truck is gorgeous.
So I have Jonathan's report. In the month of September, 31 inspections and site visits were conducted, 17 building permits were issued, and 4 building permits were renewed. In the month of September, 3 CFOs were issued and 8 certificates of compliance were issued. At the end of September, there were 4 expired building permits. There are 2 cases of fire inspections being overdue or having failed previous inspections. There were no new building only complaints in September. And for zoning, in September, 8 municipal searches were requested and completed. 3 site visits were conducted. 2 FOIL requests were received and completed. And there were no new zoning only complaints in September. And that's his report. Lois,
Yes.
we see your report here.
Sure. Bank reconciliations are completed through August. Like I said in the past, we don't get them as early anymore. So I'll start working on them. We got them all in on Friday. I'll start working on them. I have posted the interest though, so that the supervisor's report was correct. So all the interest is there. Transfer station billing is up to date. I still owe Bob a few names that he was gonna look into from last month's meeting.
Okay,
So I'll get on that and get them to him. The monthly revenue from the Justice Court has been received through August, and we are now have received all of the bills from the state. We were getting those for a little while.
right,
And we have gotten them, we are up to date through August. So Mike has an updated sheet now of what our net income is. So that's good. I received the building department's, obviously, September report as well as the town clerks. I just wanted to put on record, which I think I have to, requesting use of some of the ARPA funds for the initial septic work that was done at the park and pool.
yeah,
It's 15,570.
Yeah.
So I think I officially have to, do we have to vote on that? I'm not sure, like, what.
probably wouldn't hurt.
Okay. So I will make that transfer from ARPA funds. I'm using the ARPA funds repaying the general account. I guess it came from the parking pool.
So you want to go ahead and make a motion, and we go ahead and authorize her? to
Yes.
do that?
I'll make that motion.
Leslie, you want to second that motion?
Sure, I'll second it.
All in favor?
So we talked about using the balance. Hopefully that will cover the rest of from the ARPA funds. Hopefully that'll cover the rest of the septic work that has to be done. I think there's 25,000 and change left in that line, the
That-
designated appropriate line.
In the ARPA funds?
So,
Yeah,
yeah, so hopefully, I don't know when we'll know that number, but whatever, it'll be used up regardless.
Good.
We wrote a letter to Mr. Dyson regarding this donation. And
Yeah.
a nice thank you letter. Continue to work on the budget. I would like to post the preliminary budget to the website after I make the few changes that we talked about the other night.
Yeah.
And put a preliminary budget
Mhm.
up on the website.
mm-hmm,
And next meeting's the 21st, correct?
Correct. So, yeah, I'll make those changes. Would you like to see a copy of the budget after the changes before I post it.
No, no,
It was just changing a few of those.
right. You'll give it to us when we have the next budget
Okay,
meeting.
okay,
Right.
all right. And I obviously, I'll, show it to Chrissy.
Yeah.
I completed the state payroll return. And then I have to finish the federal 941 payroll return. It's due by the end of the month. And that's
Yeah.
about it.
Oh, the auditor or whatever, he's still here?
He's still here. It's been 2.5 months.
I mean, any idea what,
No. Been asking for some sporadic vouchers from me. I know he's looked at the bank recs. So, he's mostly been asking, more of the financial end
Sure.
of it.
yeah,
I think then maybe, I think he had some
Yes,
questions for the town
yeah.
clerk's office.
For taxes, he was asking Chrissy about that, so.
He's
So,
also interviewed recreation, and he's interviewed highway, right?
yeah. So he's here 3 days, at least 3 days a week
okay,
since the end of July,
wow.
right?
Yes, we're gonna miss him when he leaves.
Yeah.
We're used to
Yeah,
having him
right,
around.
Thanks a lot.
He's a very pleasant man.
He is, he's very
Yeah,
kind and
It just
understanding.
makes you a little nervous, but
Yeah,
I think we're fine.
I think we're fine.
It's like a trooper behind.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or people with ski racks that you think are troopers and then all of a sudden they pass in, they're not
Is
troopers.
there any report from Chrissy, did she leave anything?
Chrissy said she would update you in the next meeting.
Okay. Mike, you want to give your report?
Yes, I'll give you a court update. First, I'll give you financial records. As Lois mentioned, we finally got reconciliation from the state. Total deposits through August were 36,827. The state kept 16,727. The county $0, the village $40, and the town got $20.60. That's through 8 months. Now, I was at court the other night and there were 44 traffic violations and 5 civil. So the court is getting more busy, or busier, I should say, with particularly violations of traffic. So it may improve, but on this pace, it's going to be close
Yeah.
to reach budget. A separate matter, about 6 weeks ago, we became aware through a verbal communication with the court that the village police were going through a restructuring with a new police chief and looking at staffing needs and the need for patrols within the village. Based on that initial conversation 6 weeks ago, they indicated that they were going to have to cut back on coverage of court, town court, which was being provided by at least one officer, sometimes 2 officers from the village would be in Judge Pohl's court. I immediately contacted the chief and the mayor, and we said the judge is concerned, and can you guys work out perhaps telling us exactly when we would be able to have full coverage. A week ago, Saturday, we received a formal notification in writing from the mayor that they would no longer be able to cover the court. By coincidence, that previous Friday night, I was at a function with Sheriff Imperati and just asked him if a local court could outsource their coverage. And he said, absolutely, the sheriff's department does that. Give my office a call on Monday. So Lois and I immediately called Monday morning at 9:00. They do a department called Shared Services. We spoke to the director in there. They informed us that, yes, they could cover the court through contract. So we initiated a contract, but they informed us that it would take at least a month for that contract to go into effect, which could affect at least 4 court sessions. So she said, hold on a minute. When I explained the seriousness of it, she went off the phone, came back 5 minutes later and said, we can cover you tomorrow night. And what we'll do is a bookkeeping adjustment that will take care of that.
Right.
So we have initiated a 2024 contract and a 2025 contract with the sheriff's department. Last evening, I drove by, the sheriff was here. I spoke to the court clerk. She said he was excellent. I had briefed the constable. I had briefed the judge on what the protocols would be. They were very pleased with the outcome. I also sent a thank you to the village for, over the last several years, supplying the service. We understand their constraints, but we were just very concerned about the safety.
Right.
And as the judge mentioned, and we saw in our seminars the other day on workplace violence, it's getting serious out there, particularly with municipalities. I was unaware, but there was a murder 2 years ago in Kingston. There was another incident where somebody was in dispute over a tax bill.
Yeah.
And he shot several people. He's now in prison. So those kinds of things. Plus, when you have civil cases, sometimes it can get a little contentious where you've got landlord on one side, tenant on the other.
Yeah.
And our constable and the village police have said there's been times when they've had to step in. So we wanted to make sure that the public, the people in the courtroom, and the judge and the judge's staff were covered. So moving forward, we're being covered by the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office.
Right.
And when I see Kurt again, I'll thank him. I informed our local legislator, Deidre. I said, when you see the sheriff, make sure you thank him for his support of the court in
Yeah.
Washington.
That's a great job, Mike.
So
You
we're
and Lois
good.
pulled that one together.
We were nervous.
Great job, Mike.
We were
Good
It was
job.
nervous.
not easy.
Yeah,
Did it quickly too.
very
Yeah,
good,
and
yeah.
that was Kirk. He said immediately call and they acted very, very quickly. So.
Yeah.
Contacts. That's all I have on the court. And as far as recreation, Danielle covered it.
Okay, thank you.
I just have one more, there is an invoice, in there from the county, that is much larger than it has been in previous years, for county chargebacks. And I think it has to do like because of the Rockefeller estate, but it's usually about between $8 and $9 grand, and it's significantly more. So I just wanted to point that out when you see that. We'll have to do a budget amendment.
Okay, Right.
So I'll have that amendment for next month's meeting.
okay, thank you.
Gary, can we just go back? I know Lisa's not here, but we did get notice from Joe Vanderwater that the Mancuso town of Washington was settled. Joe, how does that happen? Where the original taxable value is 272,000, but the RPTL, I don't know what that is, comes to 136, and then the reduced tax value is 136. Is that an arbitration that takes place, or how's that work?
It's a negotiation that's then
Right.
memorialized by a stipulation between the
Okay.
parties.
Yeah.
It's like a court-ordered stipulation.
So they were questioning what we had assessed,
Right,
and the arbitrator reduced it in half.
right. Well, I'm not actually sure. Kyle probably led the charge on
He
that.
did, Kyle
did,
did.
that's
But,
correct.
I was just
but it
trying
just
to
means
understand the
that
process.
that settlement proposal was arrived at between the parties.
Okay,
And obviously you have the opportunity to.
Chat.
Disagree, but that's the idea. It will be memorialized by a stipulation.
okay.
If you.
So that just took care of the executive session.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So anyway.
Now we know what the executive session.
That was executive session. I didn't even see that.
Okay, so the town board has to we need a motion to accept and
The reason
authorize
potentially-
them to settle it.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't see that.
It's okay. Potentially you would go into executive session for that because technically it's a litigation matter,
Right,
but you haven't discussed anything that's particularly
Right.
confidential
Oh,
in doing
okay.
so. So if you're comfortable with it.
Leslie, did you have any questions about that?
I don't have any questions about it, no.
So
Sorry.
Have a motion to go ahead and authorize
Yes,
them to
yeah,
settle. You make that, Mike? Second to that motion?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. So
Well, at
we're-
least people know how, what kind of things happen in executive session. It's not necessarily always exciting.
Yeah. The only reason, I mean, since the questions come up, the only reason the executive session would be necessary if we were going to discuss things that might impact the outcome of the litigation, like discussions about
Yeah,
negotiation.
we weren't sure, so we said,
But if you're
you know.
comfortable with it, then you would have had to make the actual motion and decision
right,
in public anyway. So you're fine.
we're
Yeah.
okay, good. Okay, Leslie, you have the floor. You hear? I can't hear you.
I think you're muted, Leslie.
I muted it by accident, sorry. The planning board met last Tuesday, October 1st. They approved the resolution for Skip Safari's lot line adjustment. So that was uneventful. And the second item on the agenda was the Clear application, which is 515 Woodstock Road. They had a public hearing just on the question about whether it should be a conventional subdivision or a cluster subdivision. The architect from the Clear's architect presented the case for a conventional subdivision. There was some discussion from the public, on the application. Everybody from the public that came to speak was in favor of a conventional subdivision and not a cluster subdivision. The board was waiting on a report, and I don't know, they did ask them to do a couple of environmental studies. One, I think, involved turtles. And so they were waiting on more information on that to make a decision on the question of which subdivision, because they kind of divided the public hearing on the question of the project in its entirety, and then on the question of whether it should be conventional or cluster subdivision. So they have scheduled another public hearing for November to vote on the subdivision question. They're also waiting to, I think, get another letter back from the CAC, who was going to opine on that application. So that was it for the planning board. The CAC met on October 2nd. I was not able to make the meeting, but I do have their minutes, so I can review those briefly with everyone. The CAC chair reviewed ideas regarding a potential community forestry program in the town of Washington and discussed ways the CAC could be involved with that. Howard Schuman reported on some of the public hearings that the CAC relevant public hearings. He talked about the town board meeting and our municipal code additions to the general code. He discussed the ZBA meeting and the Article 78 that was filed against the ZBA for the Yard Guard swimming project had been dismissed, which I have a question about, which I guess we'll get to when we do the ZBA report. And then he reported on the Clear application, which I just shared with you. They also discussed a draft letter being sent to the planning board regarding the Clear subdivision, and an update on the Village of Millbrook CAC from Mike Herzog. The Village's CSC task force has met and organized to complete submission. So the village is on its way to completing all of their documentation for bronze status with the state, which is exciting. He also mentioned a public comment from Adelaide Camillo, expressed concerns that the neighbors of the Clear parcel may not have full understanding of how or why a cluster subdivision may have an environmental protection benefits. So she spoke about that, and their next meeting is in November. Speaking of certification, I'm continuing to work with Margaret Schneibel on that. Today, Margaret and I had a meeting with our two representatives from Cornell who the town board knows, and Joe Spagnola and Chrissy and Kathleen. I circulated that survey. We discussed it today with Cornell, and I explained that the town board felt that maybe one of us should be responding to it, and that Joe Spagnola had some questions. So they suggested that we set up a meeting next week in person with me and Joe and Chrissy, or whoever from the office would like to join, just to go over, questions that they have about what we've done so far with our disaster preparedness. That's probably the fastest way to do it, is to get all the information from us at one time. And so they're wide open on Thursday and Friday of next week. I hung up with them. My call was with them this afternoon. I haven't had a chance to email Chrissy or Joe Spagnola to see when they might be available. It shouldn't take more than 30 minutes just to sit down with them quickly to talk through some of their questions around our disaster preparedness. And then they have done templates for the website for us, which is, kind of part of what we just agreed to do with them, is to have which is good for us to do for our town anyway, is to have a page dedicated to disaster preparedness for residents. And we will, and having completed that page, also complete another one of our tasks that we need for points towards bronze certification. So they're going to be sitting down with me also so we'll meet with Joe and Chrissy around this disaster piece. And then I'm going to go through with them some of the documentation that I've collected towards our bronze certification. So that is moving forward. I explained to them that I am, as of November 1st, will no longer be a town board member, but that I will remain on the task force to help Margaret and the CSC complete, get all the documentation that we need to get together to complete our submission for bronze status. So that's it for me.
Thank you for doing that too.
Leslie? I have a
Sure.
question.
Yes.
Does the composting toilet help with your bonds?
Yes. That's great, Danielle. Thank you. If you have any, like, the receipt for the toilet or a picture of the toilet or whatever you've got, if you wouldn't mind putting it in my mailbox, that would be terrific.
She's
Because
gonna
it's solar powered.
Yeah,
She's texting it to you right now.
that's great.
So we'll see you at the next budget meeting, or we'll hear
Yes. Yeah.
from. Okay. Good, thank you.
Oh, of course.
So we don't have Bob's report.
He was just,
Joe, right?
I know he spoke to me about the roofing. That's the big thing
Yep.
he's working through right now, is the roofing bit.
That's all I have. Anybody have anything else?
Leslie, you said you had a question under ZBA report. Joe's not here, so.
Oh, yeah, maybe the other Joe E could answer this for us. It says that the yard guard application, or maybe Howard might be able to answer it since he was there. Was it dismissed? Like, there was an Article 78, did a judge dismiss it, or was it withdrawn?
I'll answer that briefly.
Yeah.
78 was approved. They launched the appeal to the Article 78.
They did.
However, they're coming in with a newer application for a smaller project. I believe.
Who lost it? Was it, it was brought by Mr. Cornell. Did the Cornells lose it, or did the yard guards lose it?
Let me rephrase. The ZBA was upheld.
Okay.
Right. So,
Okay.
yeah, they could go ahead with what they want, but however, they came in with Josh Mackey representing them, their lawyer, and with a smaller project. I believe on hearsay that a fact that the Cornells may have been contemplating an appeal of the Article 78 that they lost, which would be more money that would have to be spent again on both parties for lawyers. So that this may be a way to end the situation completely.
With a smaller
With a
project.
smaller pool.
Well, that's very nice of the yard guards to do that. I'm sure they don't want the headache, but you know, I was just, because dismissed to me was, that makes sense. It was dismissed by the court. It wasn't withdrawn by the
No, the court upheld the ZBA. If I said it. That's what
I got it. That's great. Okay, I just wanted clarification on that. Thank you.
Anybody have anything? Howard?
No. I don't know what the.
Are you hearing anything about Hitchcock's property?
Not anything that doesn't appear online sometimes.
I guess there's an interested party that was
I heard
Russian.
40 million.
a Russian developer
I don't know what I heard 40 million was
That was-
somewhere.
that came and visited, and they're coming back this weekend.
No, I didn't hear that.
I don't know if that's all.
I think you're lowballing the 40 million, Howard.
Well, this is all gossip now.
I heard 62.
You heard 62.
Okay, if nobody has anything else, I have a motion to,
Sign the bills.
close the meeting.
And sign the bills.
Yep,
You'll pay the
let's
bills.
pay the bills, right.
I'll make that motion.
Take a second to Leslie?
Oh, second.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay.
Good.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Leslie. Thanks, Danielle.
I'm not process those until either Ross or
Right.
Joe comes with their word. So
I
I'm not
think the
gonna
first
do
of the
them-
week, though,
Okay, I'm not gonna do them tomorrow.
because Monday's a holiday.
Yep,
Right.
so. Not be on the address until.
Thank you, Joe, for coming.
I'll see you again.
Yeah, thank you.
And I
Yeah.
didn't get the bank number Visa bill yet.